Thank you very much. A little preamble before I begin my presentation. It's a privilege to be here to address this audience and the industry in the Baltics. On my previous job in the packaging industry in Europe for more than 17 years, I had multiple customers from the Baltics, very successful exporters with the most advanced equipment. So it's really an honor to address this industry. So now I'm currently living in Boston in the United States, and I'm doing some consulting business on seafood sales and recycling, packaging, and different novel technologies. So in this first slide, why did I select this slide? Basically, it summarizes, in a way, the image captures the essence of today's message, right? Delivering health and convenience. We're not talking about anymore about a commodity. We're talking about a product that meets the expectation of consumers, right? It's extremely important if we're going to become a profit center. We need to match the lifestyle and we match the aspiration and the expected solution that the consumers are looking for the products. So if it is packed in the most recyclable packaging, the trend right now, obviously, even though I'm going to speak about flexible plastic packaging in a specific, but the trend right now is cardboard, is cellulose, bio-based materials, for sure, all aligned with the EU directives and food safety standards. So let's go. This is the menu that I have for you. I call it a menu because it's not only technical things that we're going to talk about very inspiring packaging that will eventually help us feed the society. So this is our roadmap, basically. We will explore key trends, packaging systems, the new PPWR as a highlight. I'm not a regulation expert in packaging, but of course I understand what's coming, and wrap up with practical conclusions. This is a very important slide here. Let's try to summarize. I'm going to try to keep to the script because it will be a little technical and I want it to be the translation to be correctly. So what we see here, okay, consumers are demanding, are seeking healthier and more sustainable options. And the Atlantic salmon industry has stepped up and partnering with retail to deliver safe, fun, and convenient products, consistent protein, pre-packed in the supermarkets. We're seeing a boom in convenience formats, sushi, poke, and now air fryer products ready for the air-fried seafood in cardboard trays. Demographics are shifting. I don't know if I'm going to make this work. Can you see these products? If you go out of your retail market and you go overseas, you start seeing more and more Asian products, more and more dry products in the supermarkets. I say customer service is so important to understand that there is new demographics that want your product, however, presented in their own style, in the recipes that they favor. Okay, so demographics are shifting. Digital platforms are reshaping behavior. What do I mean by that? By the book a scenario right here. I think we all read that you can buy products now from TikTok, or you can buy products now from ChatGPT. So it is important to understand how we're going to face as an industry with these disruptive changes that is affecting consumer behavior. And to keep up, the entire supply chain is innovating, investing, and aligning with the new PPWR, which is extremely important. Slide 4, packaging technologies. Basically, this is just a quick overview. It's going to be a little bit technical here. I'm sorry if some of you for sure know it, but for those that don't know, let's simplify the main packaging systems, okay? So when I say MAP, I don't know if you can see here, when you see here, MAP, these ones right here, does mean that we are replacing the air, and this air is replaced with gas, sealed in order to extend the shelf life. When we talk about vacuum pack, it could be a thermoform vacuum pack, the ones that are here, the traditional packs for trout or salmon in a thermoform vacuum pack. Basically, it molds the film into shape, then seals. When we talk about flow pack, the traditional, cannot point it, the traditional packaging for frozen fish or frozen vegetables, a lot of frozen meat, basically wraps the product vertically or horizontal, right? And a skin pack, the ones right here, depending you're doing it in plastic or cardboard, basically seals the product through a tray, plastic, cardboard, and now alu and metal even. Okay, so remember that all these packaging systems are using key resins, PE, PP, PET, PET, rPET, all of them, they have different recyclability and compliance profiles. PPWR, which is Packaging and Packaging Waste Regulation, and the ERP, the Extended Producer Responsibility, are shaping how we design and dispose packaging. We will talk a lot about that in the next slides. So insights for the seafood industry. Basically, let's highlight some quick examples right here. Rainbow trout. Overseas, they call this a steelhead, extremely popular in the United States. It's becoming one of the major favorite fish in the United States. I noticed recently that this Finnish company launched this beautiful product, smoked trout in cardboard pack, a skin pack. Fantastic, very successful. I haven't seen it yet in the United States, but I've seen that it is conquering Middle Eastern markets. Rainbow trout in cardboard, a skin pack, cuts the plastic packaging probably by 75%. Fantastic success. Breaded fish. I try to use examples from the Baltic area. So breaded fish, some of them are having instructions for air fryer. What could be done next? Next could be to pack in a cardboard packaging that could be put directly into the air fryer. Not in the fryer, in the air fryer. This is already happening. This is already available, and this could really transform this category for new young consumers. Digital printing. Why is so important? We need to communicate, but the mandate is to reduce packaging. So if we need to reduce packaging, we need to use all ways to communicate more and better to consumers. So QR codes, digital printing is going to be very important due to the smaller runs, better finishes in the pack, and the more storytelling that you provide to the consumer, the better. And one thing to watch, it's very important, that's for the next slide, but I'm gonna say it right now. A smoked salmon is a steel pack in thermoforming system. It's too traditional. It is ready for a revamp. Okay, so in this slide, pre-packed Atlantic salmon leads the fresh fish sales. Why? Basically, it is healthy, it is tasty, it is convenient, and it's completely versatile. It could be breakfast to dinner, it could be a snack, it could be a tapas, it could be sushi, right? So it really is a successful story, no matter how you present it. It stopped being a commodity, and it transformed itself into a solution. So sushi and poke are the fastest growing ready-to-eat format in the retail shelf. This is just one example. Right now we can find it in cardboard, we can find it in fully recyclable clamshell PET materials. A extremely successful story that is fun and exciting, and is one of the favorites for the young consumers as well. It is great for me, and really pleased to see more and more ASC and MSC certifications on the packs. And in certain markets, like in the United States, for example, it is one of the enablers to enter a retail account. If you don't have it, probably you cannot enter the volumes. And the supply chain is beginning to align with PPWR. Please remember those words, the Packaging and Packaging Waste Regulation, which is now in force and with full application from August 2026, which is right in the corner. All right. So key packaging sustainable attributes. These are, for me, strategic in order to transform a commodity into a new profit center. What do I mean when I said new profit center? A new opportunity to move volume, to commercialize it. You know, we need to be viable. We need to make it, we need to provide functionalities that consumers are expecting. And so what is the main thing that packaging do? Protection, obviously, right? Barrier, product integrity, transport durability during the supply chain. But packaging must protect, communicate, seal without leaks. Nobody wants a pack, especially of fish that smells like fish, and extend shelf life, all while being convenient and compliant with the regulation. These aren't just features that you need to have in your pack. These are strategic levers for trust. At the end of the day, we need to create loyalty into consumers. So these attributes will only help us create trust. And business viability, as I mentioned, and lower the EPR fees. What do I mean by that? Manufacturers now are responsible legally and economically for the life cycle of that pack that they put in the market. So the more recyclable that we do, the more sustainable, the less weight, the less fees that will be applied to your products. To reduce these fees, what can we do? Use grade A recyclable packaging, add more post-consumer recycled PCR content in these packs, avoid PFAS, which means the forever chemicals, the liners or the substances that are added into the pack to avoid oiled and non-recyclables. Follow labeling and design for recycling rules is very important. Okay, fantastic. Here we see one product, very famous Atlantic salmon, however, packed in many packaging systems. It all depends what exactly we want to sell, to whom do we want to sell this, and what solution is the desire for a given customer or market. That is, for me, very important as a departure part, you know. Before we choose the right one, we must align three basic things: the application, the product itself. You know, what are we packing? Are we packing raw? Are we packing cooked? Are we gonna pack a ready meal, marinated, smoked? Each product has its own needs: barrier needs, preservation needs, heat treatment needs, loading needs. You know, the equipment needs to be aligned. What we have in mind, are we going to use the capital investment that we have? Are we going to invest? How is it going to be distributed? You know, the equipment is critical for this. And the material compatibility, what do I mean? The base and the top. Both materials need to be compatible. So once we define the goal, and the goal could be better logistics, more sustainability, microwavable, heat treatable, pasteurizable, ovenable, HPP, you know, it depends what do we want. Then we customize the solution for that given protein, and then we automate the solution. Let's see some examples. Opportunities for traditional products. What do I mean by that? Salmon is extremely successful, yes. However, a smoked salmon, to my perception, from my experience, I really believe that it needs a revamp. I think it's not growing necessarily. Keep in mind that we may be producing a commodity for customers that already know this product. Smoked salmon, cold smoke, or hot smoke. However, if we want to grow exports, we may need to align to the new consumer aspirations. Maybe these shapes, like a tail, right? Or these other shape like this, maybe they don't mean anything to the new consumer. Maybe they mean something for us that we grow with this delicacy. Okay? So in other markets, they are presenting storytelling with cubes that match the new salads, the new poke, the new way of consuming food. Okay? You may say, yeah, some slices of smoked salmon could deliver the same thing. People are looking for protein. Yes and no. Consumers are looking for solutions. Consumers are looking for perceptions. Consumers are looking for experiences. Okay? And yes, this has a consumer, but also the pack, it has not been challenged since more than 50, 60 years. So I think it's ready for a revamp. And with digital printing now, they're putting new QR codes on the pack that help communicate and tell a storytelling. So move forward. Other two examples of how we can optimize packaging and help meet PPWR, simply from changing a packaging presentation, which is modified atmosphere packaging, thermoform top lid, by changing to a skin packaging presentation. Just by that, we could fit more packs in a master case and more packs, more master cases in a container load. Obviously, all of that has repercussions with less weight, less fuel, because we are transporting more fish in the pack, in the trucks. Second example below, the traditional packaging system for salmon or frozen fish, shrimp, all these commodities, they're using laminates. These are multi-structure materials. Some of them are going to be extremely challenged with the new PPWR. And one way to reduce plastic, to reduce weight, and to make it more sustainable could be at least to start with the bottom. The bottom part is using PET materials with high recyclable content on it, and at least you are making this pack more sustainable and with better merchandising. All right, so now it's time to talk about PPWR. And again, I'm not a regulatory expert. However, due to my packaging expertise, I dare to translate this very recent document, which is so extensive, into some highlights. To stay in the market, and let me see here, I think I moved too fast, yeah. So basically the main pillars are recyclability, reusability, weight reduction, and labeling. Okay, by 2028, we will have harmonized recyclability assessment methods, and by 2030, only recyclable packaging is going to be measured by performance, but how much recyclable it is and how much post-consumer content it is included in the structure. And then you're going to get a grade A, a grade B, or a grade C. Okay? So the minimum is grade C of the packs that will be allowed with the minimum PCR. So for PET material, for food applications, I think the PCR is 30%, what you need in order to achieve that, at least C. So success depends on collaboration. As you understand, this enters in force. This is already in force, but full implications start from August 2026. It's right next, it's immediately this coming up to us. So we need collaboration with processors, with retailers, logistics, packaging, and equipment suppliers. Everything will be measured through recyclability scores, shelf life, and cost per unit. What are the implications for packaging suppliers, the ones who are providing this to you, industry manufacturers? Well, to stay in the market after 2030, packaging specs must meet recyclability and the PCR thresholds. That means that the whole industry needs to accelerate their R&D on monomaterials, from multi-structures to monomaterials and recyclable components. They need to redesign the multi-layer structures. Those are the structures that are packing thermoforming, salmon, shrimp, mackerel, herring, sardines, you name it. Developing compliant labeling and traceability systems, building alliances with post-consumer recycled PCR suppliers, because the law is asking everybody that they need to add more recycled content. Is that recycled content available? It's not only fish industry going to need it, poultry, meat, everybody's going to need this PCR. So the soonest that everybody start securing their supply chain, the better. And investing in automation and certifications like German cyclos. Why is this important? If the industry is going to change dramatically from these multi-structures, the equipment need to be ready and prepared to run these new materials. And that's the important thing. Is that equipment ready? I don't think so. So we need alliances. We need to start validating this the early as possible. Okay, coming from America, I wanted to show you something important, something interesting. We still see, in Europe and in America, we still see fishmongers, right? We still see fish pack, it's called back store, okay, pack in the store. And not necessarily they are using the most sustainable pack for these products. What is the opportunity that I wanted to present you? Because for me, it really caught my attention. This is coming from Canada. It's innovation that has a patent that stood up based on my expertise. It's called the Lucid Infinity Tray. They are mono-material, padless, leak resistant, and made for 100% rPET. Why it caught my attention? Because it is solving a real problem for those applications. I believe in Europe, over 1 billion pads, absorbent pads that are in the trays of fresh protein are landfilled in this market. And consumers, let's be honest, not many of us will take that pad and clean the tray. We just dispose it. If you dispose it, that tray is waste. It may be in carton, it may be in the most recyclable carrier, but by not separating, we are contributing to the problem. So how about if the problem doesn't exist? How about if the problem is already solved? So this is a design of two, you cannot see too well for the light, but you have the bottom, and then you have an insert that is acting as the absorbent pad, made of the same material, therefore is already padless and avoids to have to deal with it, and supports grade A recyclability and reduces the ERP fees. Okay, so it is a great example of design for compliance. It's already, for me, meeting the PPWR with performance and circularity. And as a conclusion, packaging is not just a box or a carrier. It is an asset. It is your best ambassador. It is a business tool that, if you use it correctly, it builds your brand visibility, ensures compliance, and earns consumers' trust. That's extremely important. To stay ahead, we must align with a new PPWR, innovative boldly with our partners, collaborate early on new sustainable materials, and that's how we turn this regulation into a really opportunity for us to create new profit centers. Thank you.
Thank you, Gonzalo. Do we have questions from the audience? Kas meil on küsimusi? Ei näe praegu kätemerd. Üks küsimus, one question from workshop. Do you have statistics how many people have used the QR codes on the packaging?
I don't have a statistics, right? I'm sorry, that was my alarm to
Yeah.
right in time. I don't have it right here, but I'm sure I can find it and provide it to you. I bet it is not much, but due to the PPWR and the enforcement that you have to reduce plastic, you have to reduce the size, I bet, and all the investments that major manufacturers of packaging are doing with digital printing, I bet it's going to be important, but I will find that and send it to you.
Another question, if the packaging has to be ready to eat or different on any occasion, environmental friendly, not smell like fish, and so on, the food industry always tells that, okay, it's going to be real expensive for the consumer. How about that? Is it more expensive, or is the technology also advanced that can make it cheaper?
Good question. But I will answer your question and then I will tell you something else. So everything is about volume, right? Price is about volume. So every project, the more volume that you have, the best cost that you can get. However, what if you don't sell? What if you don't achieve those volumes? So you have to invest and risk, because what is more costly, to go out of business or to invest in order to be on business? I don't know if I answer your question.
Maybe. I'm reading a really long question now. It's really long. It takes me half an hour to read it. But another question, shorter. Wouldn't it be wisest to promote reusable packaging?
It is considered on the PPWR, but not necessarily for food packaging in retail. It's more reusable packaging for food service or transportation, B2B. However, there are programs, especially in France, that they focus on that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to scale that is a different story, because it's not only the pack itself. You have to consider that there's got to be a support circuit in order to wash and to replenish that supply chain of that returnable, let's say, pack.
So the long question and the end of it, it's talking about the EU packaging directive and issue with the EPS boxes. And the question is it reasonable to impose directives by force when the entire chain has not been resolved?
I would say my own opinion, okay? Because that's a complicated one. It's good and relevant. If you don't legislate something, there's no change. Simple as that. If you want to change, unfortunately, there's got to be a legislation. If not, there's no move.
That's true. Do we have more questions? Gonzalo? Yes. Aga mikrofon ikkagi. Siis me kuuleme ülekande kuulajad ka.
Hi. I have one question about that. You're from US, from Boston, and we know that recently, last year, I guess, Amazon started home deliveries about fresh seafood. Do you know anything about this project and how this packaging is supporting that business? And another question is also about, you mentioned here that most of the seafood sales is going already in TikTok environment. So
it's starting.
It's already very common in China, but it's also starting in US.
I have not used it myself, but I read the news. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
But Amazon part. Yeah,
and the first part that you asked me, if you are going to do a B2C, business to consumer, what is the main thing that packaging should do? Should protect the product, okay? It should arrive to me. Keep in mind the concept unboxing. You are receiving a present at your home. You are buying something, but you are receiving a present. You are rewarding yourself because you save time or whatever you did. But if you get something bloody or non-fresh, right? So there are multiple ways to secure that. This packaging here is completely e-commerce ready. anything skin pack. You can say thermoform vacuum pack could also do that, but you have to consider many factors. Temperature, was the right temperature there? You know, because if the right temperature was not there, probably more juices were there. So maybe you needed to have more absorbance, or maybe, you know what I mean? You need to have a product, a pack that will communicate your brand in the most proper way and secure freshness and no leaks. In the United States, it's a market that the minimum thing could be rejected. So if the box in the outside is showing wetness, they don't even check the inside. The pack is already rejected. So you know what I mean? So it's not only primary packaging, it's also secondary packaging. And it's also the audits that you'll have to do to your supply chain, to the one who's providing you the service. You know what I mean? Because it's not, maybe it's not juices from the product, it's oil from the trucks. You know what I mean? That could affect the whole experience of the buyer.
Have you had time to analyze Estonian packaging as well?
I visit many stores. And yeah, I mean, you have
our
some,
tin cans with Tallinn picture on it. No?
Tin can is fantastic. I love it.
Very good. Thank you, Gonzalo.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yep.